Welcome to the Karen Kenney Show. Hey, you guys, welcome to the Karen Kenney Show. I'm super duper excited to be here with you today. You know what I'm not excited about? All this fucking snow. I'm ready, you guys. I'm just ready. I'm ready for winter to be over. Okay, whining done, and I'm back. Okay, today we're going to be talking about regrets. Regret, regret, regret. How many of us have just walked around in life carrying some regrets that we're just like, oh man, that is just so not soothing. But we have good news for today because we're going to dive into this. I've been thinking about this for a bunch of different reasons, and I've been wanting to talk about regrets again because I did an episode like 6 years ago. I think it was episode 69, and I just called it On Regret. So I've talked about this before, like a really long time ago, but I have a lot. I have some newer thoughts. I have some newer thoughts, and you know what I always say in my podcast episodes. I mean, not on every single one, but what I often say is I reserve the right to change my mind, and that when I'm smarter, I'll hopefully do better. When I know better, I'll hopefully do better. But I reserve the right to change my mind. I reserve the right to grow. I reserve the right to go like, oh yeah, I've learned better. I've learned more better. I love using bad grammar sometimes. I've learned more better since then. I've been a smarter person since then. Okay, but I'm thinking about regret for a bunch of reasons. Number one, you just cannot be in this political climate right now and not hear a bunch of people saying how much they regret voting for Donald Trump. So there's that daily thing of all the bro podcasters, a lot of the bro comedian podcasters saying, "Oh, I didn't think he was actually going to deport a bunch of people." So yeah, all right, that was a bad impression. But number one, you just hear that a lot going on. Also, I have some decisions to make in my life. And one of the things I always ask myself when I have multiple options is, I mean, there's different ways of coming to decisions, of course, but one of the things I often ask myself is, will I regret this? Will I regret this thing I'm about to say or do or whatever, post, Sometimes you gotta think about it. Also, there's a so certain right is, right? When we are working on a project, not all of us, but a lot of us, right? A lot of different people will kind of put on their walls like things that are inspiring them. Especially like imagine you're writing a historical period piece. So you might put pictures of people in their old-timey clothes or places like if you're writing about the Africa, the savannah, or you're writing about the pyramids or like whatever you're doing, right? You might put things on the wall that inspire you, that motivate you, that bring you to that time again, whatever it is. Well, I have a piece of paper on my wall that's part of like my writing wall, which right now I don't have a bunch of things up. I'm always kind of surrounded by my history. Like I have a picture of my mother on my desk. There's my mother's back there, me, little me. So there's always reminders for me around here. But I keep this particular piece of paper because I said it to my sweetie. I said this quote to my sweetie. It wasn't a quote at the time. I was just talking, but he reminded me of it one day, a wicked long time ago. And so I wrote it down and I printed it out. And it basically just says, and it's about my book, right? My book that I'm writing. I don't ever want to regret not writing it. I don't ever want to regret not writing it. And that quote in particular is really the heartbeat of what we're going to be talking about today. And this is going to make sense in a minute. So stay with me. Okay. And then fourth of all, one of my fourth reasons, right, is that it's like, how do I talk? Whether you call it spiritual teams or loving intelligence or divine intelligence or the universe or, whatever. Sometimes when my brain starts to think about talking about a thing, you just see it. You just start to see it. It's like when you were a kid and all of a sudden we're driving in the car and you got bored and one of you was like, let's play punch buggy. Well, as soon as you tell your brain and you start to focus on trying to see little Volkswagen buggies, what do? You start to see them, right? So it's not surprising to me as I've been thinking about talking about regret that all of a sudden I get an email from somebody, Jesse Itzler, talking about regrets. And I was like, okay, that's the sign. I got it. Got the memo. Got it. Right. And like, here we go. Okay. So I want to go back to my previous episode 69. Because the reason why I wanted to do this episode is that there's another regret. And it's let's just call it, I call it a preventative right? It's a preventive regret. And this I did not talk about in my previous episode. So I wanted to share this one with you because I find it wicked helpful. And I thought maybe you will too. Okay, so on podcast episode number 69 on regret, I basically talked about, I said there's two main types of regrets that people encounter in their lifetime. One of them stems from decisions made or actions that we took that we are now not proud of, right? Things we did, things we said, decisions we made, actions we took that we're not proud of. And, we wish we could take them back. Okay. And I said the second kind of main regret or type of regret that we have is an action that we didn't take or didn't do. And what I realize is that both of those are focused on the past. It's us now looking back, right, and saying like, oh, shit, like I wish I hadn't said that or done that. And it could be anything from, maybe you just were irritable that day and you spoke out of turn and you said something hurtful and you made somebody cry or you upset somebody, all the way to something like a major life decision where you got a divorce and now you wish you hadn't, or whatever it is, right? This being human, we have 1,001 ways to make mistakes and to fuck up. And, there's that thing they say in 12-step programs, like sometimes you got to ask yourself before you do something, am I really just hungry or tired or lonely, or I need support or whatever it is right before I do this thing. But we don't always have the self-awareness in that moment to know like, hey, this thing I'm about to do or this thing I'm about to decide to not do, like show up for my kid's basketball game, or I'm not going to pay my bills on time, or I'm not going to X, Y, and Z, whatever I'm not going to keep my word, whatever it is. Like I said, there's 1,001 ways that humans, we can screw things up. But those are all like now things in the past that we can't do anything about. Okay. So when I was thinking about these two main things, bringing them back up in my mind, I realized, oh, there's a third kind of regret. And Jesse also talked about this, hit on this in his email, which I thought was fantastic. So number one, let's just revisit these. There's the regrets in the past, right? These are the ones that you can't do anything about. They happened years ago or they happened last week, and what's done is done. And they say in, I think it's in AA, I know it's in the 12-step, kind of recovery programs, but they say you can't build a better past, right? And this is my way of saying like what happened, happened. That whole saying, it is what it is. It is what it is. The thing went down, you did the thing or didn't do the thing, right? You can't do anything about it. And this is when we have to like go into the realms of like, self-awareness for first of all, like owning it, like, yeah, this was something that I participated in, did and said, and I wish I hadn't. I have to accept that I was doing the best that I could at the time, or I wasn't doing the best that I could, and I actually was being a dick. And looking back now with some maturity and some insight, and now I'm so whatever your thing is, right? Maybe you're a person who became sober or whatever the thing is, and you're like, okay. And this is the realm of like self-awareness, self-acceptance, and self-forgiveness, right? And then with the knowledge, I think how we kind of ease the sting of regret is that we actively work, right, to do better, right? Not just say, oh, I wish things were different. No, you do something about it. Okay. So that's it. Those are the ones you can't do anything about. Then you have the ones that you can do something about, right? So you might be sitting there and saying like, I was kind of harsh with that person, or, oh, I was impatient, or, oh, I wasn't really paying attention and they felt not seen, not heard, not loved, blah, blah, blah. I didn't do my best as a father, right? But hey, I'm still alive. Like I can't go back and change my kid's childhood, but I can make amends, right? I can make things right. I can like acknowledge my part in things. I can say I'm sorry, and I can actively work on myself to do better moving forward. I can't go back and change the past, but at least I can still try my best to do something about it. Now, whether or not people want to accept your apology or to allow you to make amends or want to be in a relationship with you again, you don't have any control over that. But at least you've come to a place of awareness enough that you're like, I fucked up. That wasn't great. I can do better. And I'm going to actively work on being better, doing better, thinking better, saying better, right? All of that. And I often tell this story. I have told it so many times, but I tell it because I think it's a really simple, but also a funny, and humor is a really great way to help us to change without shame, to realize that, we're all human and we all do wacky things. But so one of my teachers, Eknath Ashwaran tells a story about, a couple that were dating or whatever. And, the guy said to the girl, like about her dog, like, oh, your dog's ugly. Although I can't imagine who would ever say that. I don't think any dogs are ugly. But let's just imagine he looks at this dog. Well, people have said to me, not about Bunchy, but about our old pug, Quincy Magoo, Clancy. We called him Clancy too. Somebody, when we walked past him on the street in downtown Concord, once made a comment about how ugly is what he was. And I was like, oh my God, you poor soul. If you think this dog is ugly, you fucking don't even you have no clue. He's the cutest thing ever. He was a little black pug. He was the cutest. Okay. And I'm back. But let's just say somebody said something mean to your dog. Okay. This is the story that he tells. The guy says something mean about the dog. That couple breaks up. He moves away. And then later he realizes that was not a kind thing to do. Like, I could do better. Now, whether that person has moved on or that dog has died, that person doesn't want to talk to you, whatever the situation is, you might not be able to go back and do anything about the past. But what you can do, Ashwaran says, is every dog you meet going forward, be incredibly kind to them. And that's how we heal it, right? Healing doesn't happen in the past. Healing happens in the present moment. Doing better, making amends. It happens in the present, like in the here and the now. So we have these things that you cannot go back to in the past and change. You have the things that you can going forward do something about. And now we have number 3. And this is the one I'm excited to talk about. So you have the ones you can't do anything about, the ones you can do something about going forward. And now we have number 3, the ones you can prevent. This is the one that you actually have some good control over. And this points back to that quote I was telling you about my memoir, about my book, where I said, I don't ever want to regret not writing it. Here's the thing. I can prevent that regret by actually writing the damn thing, right? And that's what I'm actively doing is I don't want to have a regret. So what am I doing is I'm actively writing the book. So I want to share this with you because you have to know what's yours to do. I always say, don't not do what's yours to do. Do the thing that is yours to do. Whether that's like, I used this example before where so many people come up to my sweetie and they'll be like, I've always wanted to play guitar. He's like, well, you have a guitar at home? And they're like, yeah. He's like, you're not dead yet. You still have time. Your fingers still work, right? So it's like we have so many things that we can prevent if we are willing to, right? If we're willing to maybe be uncomfortable because we're new at something and we're going to suck at it and we have to be in beginner's mind and we have to be a learner and our ego doesn't like that because adults get weird about being not good at things. Adults get weird at not like we're afraid to look stupid. We're afraid to be made fun of. We're afraid to not be good at things. Little kids don't care. Little kids, when they play, think about when you were a little kid, most of us, I mean, I didn't like to color outside the lines, but I was a wicked good colorer inside the lines. So I didn't stress about it, right? I just did it. But most of us, like, you ever do a cartwheel before? No, show me. And then you try and you don't care if you fall and you all laugh and you have fun. We get older and we become way more self-conscious, right? So here's the thing. If we are willing to have self-awareness, if we're like, meaning like you have to be self-aware enough to know that if I don't do this thing, I will regret it. Like somebody says, I've always wanted to run a marathon, or I've always wanted to write a book, or I always wanted to like donate blood, or I always wanted to say, I'm sorry. Like there's we can't spend the whole show talking about 1,000 and million and one ways, right? That you might have things that are on your heart and on your mind that you feel called to do, that you feel excited about, that you feel curious about, whatever the language is, right? And you're like, I don't want to regret this. Well, you don't have to, right? There's a lot of things that are in our control, right? Like go out and vote, say the damn thing, like start the project, whatever it is, right? Start doing better. Start showing up at your kids' games or recitals. Start studying at night instead of watching TV. X, Y, and Z. I want to go back to school. Whatever the thing is, right? You can probably prevent a lot of things, not everything, especially when it comes to relationships, right? It takes two to tango. If you don't want to divorce, but your partner does, you can't control that ultimately, right? So it's like, what is mine? What is mine that I can prevent, right? What's my control? What's in my control? And you have to have a little bit of courage, right? You have to be willing to let yourself be vulnerable enough to want a thing, right? To want to go after a thing or pursue a thing or learn a thing or whatever. Because a lot of times, people around you will talk you out of your dreams, and that's a whole episode for another day. But one of the things that Jesse said that I loved, he said, and it's the same thing that I ask myself. I say, oh, am I going to regret this if I don't do this, right? But he says, I ask myself this question all the time. Am I going to regret this in the future? And if the answer is yes, I get in front of it immediately. And so he was giving the example of how he always wanted to run, I don't remember the exact number, like 100-mile race. And his wife, Sarah, was like, this is crazy. And he's like, Sarah, she's like, what about your knees and later down the road or whatever? And he's like, I'm not living for later. He goes, I'm living for now. And I asked myself, will I regret not doing this? And he goes, and I knew that I would. So I signed up and I did the race and blah, blah, blah. So here's what I know. Not doing a thing is going to absolutely probably guarantee you the outcome that you don't want. If it's really on your heart to do it and you're really curious about it and you really want to pursue it and you don't, it's like you can prevent, when Smokey the Bear used to say, only you can prevent forest fires. Well, only you can prevent future regret. And again, you have to be self-honest, you have to be self-aware, you have to have a little courage, you have to get a little like pep in your step, a little mojo, you got to be a little brave, right? But we can have a different outcome. Regret does not have to be the thing. It does not have to be the ending of your story. I always like it. I know that they're not all happy endings, but I'm like, if we can have a happy ending, right? Why wouldn't we want to pursue it for ourselves and others? And that's the thing. You can have a better ending story than, well, now I regret it. I wish I had. I wish I hadn't, right? So things we can't do anything about, things we can do something about, and then ones we can prevent, things that we can prevent. And so this is an opportunity to I'm going to keep it simple, right? I'm ending the podcast right now, but just ask yourself, are there some things in my life that I've wanted to do that I know that I need to do? Some apologies I need to make, profess my love, like start a business, whatever the thing is. Right? Only you can prevent future regret. So it's got to be on you, but that's a powerful thing. So I hope this has been helpful to you in some way when you think about these different kinds of regrets. And I hope you're writing a beautiful ending to your own story, right? You are the author. You are the author of your own life story. And certainly there are a lot of chapters and there are a lot of plot twists and things that happen, awful things sometimes that we can't prevent. Not everything is preventable, but the things that we can prevent, like, why not? Why not get in front of it, as Jesse says? Why not do something about it? So this is my little love letter from my heart to yours. I hope it's helpful in some way. And I hope you're hanging in out there, right? It's tough time to be a human. Like being human, I just said to somebody the other day, this being human is so fucking hard sometimes. And there's a lot going on in the world. But just know that I am beaming love. I am blasting love from my heart to yours. And I hope you can feel it coming your way and that you know that you're not alone in all of this. And you know that there's people around you and people maybe you have never even met yet in real life that actually care about you. So wherever you go out in the world, you guys, may you leave yourself and the people and the animals and the places and the planet better than how you found them. Wherever you go, may you and your love and your energy and your presence be a blessing. Bye.